Campers, greetings. I'm your host, Dr. Wolfula, and when I'm not making problems at my camp go away by giving my concerned staff members $50 to stay quiet about them, I'm here at Camp AHHctober reviewing movies. With the Halloween season in full swing and with me running my own camp for wayward youths with parents who might not miss their kids if something happened to them, I figured it'd be fitting to finally cover the entire Sleepaway Camp franchise, especially since it's been announced recently that a remake is on the way from the original director. And what better place to begin a breakdown of the franchise than with the film that started it all in 1983? Sleepaway Camp, written and directed by Robert Hiltzik.
Wait, didn't you already make a video on this movie?
Yeah, but it was like 11 years ago. I figured it was worth it to provide a more thorough, updated video.
I don't know. Covering a movie twice when so many other channels have already covered it just seems self-indulgent and pointless.
You're self-indulgent and pointless.
Hey, I'm not gonna argue with you there.
Well, good. And besides, I'm going to make revisiting Sleepaway Camp 1 fully worth it because, much like in the film itself, there will be a shocking twist I'm going to reveal at the end of this video.
What's the twist?
You're just going to have to watch until the end of this video to find out, Goulash.
But I want to know it now!
Well, too damn bad.
Please tell me this video's twist!
No!
Oh, this is horse shit!
Trust me, the twist of this video is going to be worth the wait. In the years since I first covered Sleepaway Camp, I found myself with an unfortunate affinity towards the film as one of the finest examples of 80s slasher schlock, with Sleepaway Camp set apart from its contemporaries with its dark, twisted layers and a questionable but unforgettable twist more famous than the movie itself, that combined together makes for an, again, unfortunately very rewatchable horror flick.
I knew I would forget, I just kept reminding myself.
What's almost as questionable as the ending of Sleepaway Camp is its beginning, as the film opens with a dedication to the memory of director Robert Hiltzik's deceased mother. I'm sure she'd be proud to be made immortal by a movie like Sleepaway Camp.
So long, Mom.
Now a lawyer, in the early 80s, Robert Hiltzik wanted to break out into the film industry as a director, and he noticed, like many other fledgling directors at the time, that the easiest way to make a splash as a director was to make a slasher film. And despite Sleepaway Camp being an unorthodox slasher movie, with his screenplay, Hiltzik still hewed very close to the standard slasher formula established at the time. He just had a very offbeat approach to the killer and victims of the film, and also realized that most of the successful slasher films of the time had a crazy twist, and Hiltzik set out to make the craziest fucking twist imaginable, and definitely succeeded. I'll go more in depth on why this movie is such a beloved cult classic with my review of Sleepaway Camp. But first I have a message from my sponsor, me. Pledge to my Patreon today to support the channel, help it continue to grow, and you'll also get access to weekly movie nights every Sunday and archive commentaries if you missed the movie nights live. Just $5 a month to get a movie night every week. Here are the movies I'll be streaming next Sunday. Pledge to patreon.com/Dr. Wolfula if you're interested in my bonus streams, and I thank you in advance.
Can we go to the camp in summer?
Well, I don't know about that.
Sleepaway Camp is hinged on its shocking twist ending, but what holds that back from making total sense the first viewing is the film's pretty confusing opening sequence, featuring a widowed father named John Baker sailing in a lake with Peter and Angela, his twin daughters, twin daughter and twin son. Getting ahead of myself here, and little trivia. Peter here was played by Maximo Sorrentino, brother of the Situation from Jersey Shore, a TV show that's even more fucked up than Sleepaway Camp. Don't watch that show with the lights off, folks.
You liar!
Looking on is John's, special friend Lenny, who's very useful in a crisis. Speaking of which, these rascals tip the boat over, and, meanwhile, some teens make their clearly distressed pal water ski when the lifeguard on the boat makes the fatal error of the movie.
How about letting me take her out on top?
All right.
Letting a woman drive, and it goes without saying that this results in people dying.
Turn the wheel!
Yes, Lenny, John does die, but also one of his kids. Peter. Yeah, Peter dies too, while everybody just uselessly stares as the surviving child struggles to stay afloat.
Oh my God! Help the people!
Somebody better do something just to shut this fucking bitch up, please. 8 years pass, and the sole survivor of the Baker clan is seemingly Angela, played by Felissa Rose, put under the quote-unquote care of her Aunt Martha, who dresses like an old-timey golf caddy and who's played by the late Desiree Gould.
Don't want to be late for the boss!
Well, that wouldn't do at all.
Angela also lives with her cousin Ricky, Martha's son, played by Jonathan Tiersten.
Any chips?
With the two cousins off to Camp Arawak for the summer. To put it mildly, eccentric and enigmatic Aunt Martha is one of the biggest mysteries of Sleepaway Camp, and despite having very little screen time in the film, she plays arguably the biggest role in the story.
Is Ricky coming too?
No, I'm afraid he's spending the weekend with his father.
Martha is a divorcee, obviously because she's fucking nuts and her unseen husband couldn't stand living with her anymore, sharing joint custody of Ricky, who resents his mother's craziness, and since she's the child always under Martha's care, Angela receives the full brunt of her aunt's smothering, with Angela becoming, putting it mildly again, withdrawn.
Anything special my little girl would care for.
Martha is referred to as a doctor, giving her children the forged medical documents every kid needs to bring with them to camp.
Just be careful not to tell anyone how you got them, even though they know that I am a doctor.
But what Martha is a doctor of is kept unknown. She could just be calling herself a doctor like me until it sticks. If your doctor is anything like this lady, get the fuck out of that office.
Goodbye, dear.
Also, Martha's relationship to Angela is unknown. In the opening, Angela's dad refers to Martha as Dr. Thomas.
Dr. Thomas is on her way.
Aunt Martha's coming?
So it seems that Martha is either the sister of John's dead wife, or just a friend of the family, with Martha only called their aunt as an affectionate title, and with Ricky only calling Angela his cousin because they were raised together since they were little, with Ricky naturally thinking of her as his cousin. It's very possible that Angela's father had no next of kin, and Martha just swooped in to assume guardianship of Angela simply because, Martha always wanted a daughter.
Good old mom's at it again.
We'll be discussing Martha more later, though. Like I said, Angela and Ricky are headed to the film's titular sleepaway camp, Camp Arawak. And even by summer camp standards, Arawak is not a safe place to send your kids. Immediately established by the camp's head chef Artie.
Where I come from, we call them baldies. Makes your mouth water, don't it?
Who would only be more obviously a pedophile if he had a sign pointing at him that says pedophile in big neon letters. But James Earl Jones's dad still just shrugs off Artie's creepiness.
They're too young to even understand what's on your mind.
There ain't no such thing as being too young.
Can't even imagine what kind of fucked up shit James Earl Jones's dad is into. The owner of the camp, Mel, played by Mike Kellen in his final role, looks the other way on Artie and his camp's many other failings because, well, Mel doesn't give a fuck about the safety of the kids put under his care. He's a cheap asshole who only cares about his bottom line.
It was one of those fluke accidents we could not have foreseen, and that is all there is to it.
I don't know.
It was an accident!
And he even has a totally inappropriate relationship with one of his camp counselors, Meg, played by Catherine Cammey.
Remember that dinner you promised me up at your place?
9:30?
You got it.
Who was 19 when they shot this film, but the age gap and power dynamic makes it still really fucked up. And even though Meg is the one pushing for a relationship, Mel is a 60-year-old man trusted to take care of these kids. He should fucking know better. When this is the kind of sleazeball running a summer camp, you can understand why things go down the way they do by the end of this film.
But sir, didn't you hire Artie from this movie to be the head chef of Camp AHHctober?
Well, yeah, but he promised me he wasn't a pedophile anymore.
Sir, when I'm around him, he still says all the same shit he said in this movie.
Where I come from, we call them baldies. Makes your mouth water, don't it?
Artie Pinky swore, though.
I don't think that's enough for you to trust somebody.
If you are concerned about it, I will consider firing Artie.
You really probably should.
I'll think about it.
Wait till you get a load of Judy. Man, oh man. Oh yeah?
Ricky meets with his girlfriend from last year's camp trip, Judy, who becomes the biggest of the film's many antagonists because since she's gone through puberty and has mosquito bites...
Don't you know girls mature before boys?
That's bullshit and you know it.
Judy now gets all the attention from guys and feels that Ricky is beneath her now, becoming a stuck-up bitch.
Ricky, I don't have time for your nonsense right now.
Well, excuse me, bitch.
But Judy's only initially annoyed by Angela's silent, creepy staring.
What are you looking at?
An annoyance shared with Meg, the head counselor of the girls' cabins, because Meg is a total control freak.
Angela, I am waiting for an answer.
She only tries to date the owner of the camp for the power he has, and Meg comes to dislike Angela because Meg sees Angela's silence and refusal to participate in camp activities as acts of defiance, something that will not be tolerated.
God damn it! Answer me, Angela! Answer me!
The other female camp counselor, Susie, is actually nice, though, and tries to accommodate Angela's needs, to encourage Angela to open up more and feel accepted.
Is there anything you would like to do? That's okay.
But Susie can only do so much. She's a kid herself.
No! Fuck off!
The two male camp counselors, Ronnie and Jean, are also good dudes, despite their provocative, slutty outfits. I mean, short shorts, crop tops, mesh shirts? They're just asking for sexual harassment, and Ronnie's obvious steroid abuse can't be ignored either. I mean, it says something when Ronnie has the biggest tits in a slasher movie, but Ronnie early on shows concern towards Angela's refusal to eat.
How about if you and me take a walk into the kitchen, see if we can find you something you like?
Which ultimately becomes misguided because Ronnie takes Angela to meet Artie, the head chef.
Hello there, Angela.
In order for Artie to find Angela something to eat, and what Artie wants Angela to eat is probably not what Ronnie had in mind.
I got something you're gonna like real good.
Hey, what are you doing?
Oh, we didn't get to see what Artie wanted to show Angela. It was probably his penis, but maybe it wasn't.
Next one up.
With Sleepaway Camp, Robert Hiltzik wanted to depict a summer camp for what it really is. Ugliness and all, cut-off short softball and all. The film was shot at Camp Algonquin at Summit Lake in New York, where the director actually went to camp as a kid, and he chose it because he knew the owners and was familiar with the camp's layout. Writing the script with this camp in mind, and in a big departure from other slasher movies at the time that often casted 20 or 30-somethings in teen roles, Hiltzik went out of his way to cast real kids and teens for Sleepaway Camp, which adds to the movie's realism, but is admittedly sketchy given the film's subject matter and the fact that the only parent on set supervising all these kids was Felissa Rose's mom. But thankfully, nothing bad seems to have happened on the set of Sleepaway Camp, because when a character like Artie is written into a script, you can never be quite sure.
Look at all that young, fresh chicken.
What Hiltzik essentially wanted to say with Sleepaway Camp is that summer camps are like a Lord of the Flies situation. There's virtually no adult supervision. The people put in charge of watching kids are kids themselves, so the kids in a summer camp pretty much run wild, breaking off into their own social groups, deciding their own rules, and turning on each other.
It's okay, we'll get him back. Come on, we'll get him back.
Sleepaway Camp is ultimately a movie about bullying and abuse in general, how it goes unchecked, unaddressed, its damaging effect on a person, and how victims of abuse might retaliate.
Yo, Angela, how come you're so fucked up?
Angela is bullied throughout Sleepaway Camp just for being quietly traumatized, and because she doesn't fit in, she becomes an easy target who seemingly can't fight back.
She's a real carpenter's dream. Felina's a board and needs a screw. That's enough!
But Angela is often rescued by her caring cousin Ricky or a camp counselor. But the roles of these saviors are pretty much just to diffuse situations before they go too far. Angela's bullying is only ever interrupted. There are never any real attempts to address it, never any consequences for the bullying, which reflects real life all too well. Most people in charge of schools, camps, whatever, they only seem to care about shit when it's too late, when it's already happened. When it comes to putting in the work to actually prevent bad shit from happening in the future, people in charge generally couldn't give less of a shit. It's just the way the world works, unfortunately.
Bitch won't answer me. She never answers me.
The film also offers some interesting parallels between male and female bullying with Mozart, the OG gamer.
Shit.
Male bullying can be ugly, the worst level of bullying, but sometimes it is just some dudes being bored and wanting somebody to fuck with. It's annoying, but nothing personal. Mozart is just an easy target, and his reactions are funny.
I'm gonna kill you.
With female bullying, it often is personal, though, and can cut deep psychologically.
I didn't do anything.
The two cousins, Angela and Ricky, contrast and complement each other very well. Ricky, despite being a kid, has a run of the camp. Jonathan Tierston imbues Ricky with a confidence beyond his years that hides a temper beneath the surface.
Eat shit and die, Ricky. Eat shit and live, Bill.
Ricky's never afraid to stand up for himself or his cousin, even when he's dwarfed and outnumbered by the campers he's at odds with.
Cocksuckers! Pricks!
Angela, obviously, is much more introverted. Angela is a bit of a thankless role for Felissa Rose, as the part has very little dialogue.
I don't feel like playing, Ricky.
When Rose auditioned, all she was asked to do was stare while eating a candy bar. But Angela carries with her a quiet sadness and a blank, creepy stare that's definitely haunting, having the discipline to get through most of her scenes without blinking or having any expression whatsoever.
Hey, this is my cousin Angela. How you doing?
Angela does begin to come out of her shell, though, when Ricky's friend shows interest in her, Paul, played by Chris Collette of future Prayer of the Roller Boys fame. Paul does just talk at Angela, not with her, but he doesn't get frustrated with her lack of responsiveness.
Me and Ricky, we go back a long time. We've been best friends for 3 years already.
Showing patience many were unwilling to give Angela.
Good night.
Good night.
And the two become something of a couple, which results in Angela receiving the full ire of Judy, who's such a narcissist that she wears a fucking shirt with her name on it. Judy just can't stand the idea of somebody getting attention with no effort, without even wanting attention back, and because of this, Angela becomes the target of Judy's destruction with the cooperation of Meg.
You're a real peckerhead, you know that, Meg?
Little trivia. The original choice to play Judy was Jane Krakowski, but her parents turned down the movie after they read the script. A rare case of child actor parents actually giving a shit about the roles their children take, but man, Jane Krakowski would have been perfect as Judy.
A drinking contest? What am I, 12 and at my boyfriend's frat party?
But Karen Fields is good too at playing a villain who's easy to hate.
How about a little sweet? Huh, Angela?
Despite Angela enjoying Paul's company, the romantic elements of their interactions confuse Angela, for the obvious reason revealed at the end of the film, but also because of Angela's traumatic background and overbearing aunt. Angela hasn't healed or been given space enough to figure out who she is in the aftermath of her family's collapse.
Please don't.
Who she wants to be, what she wants out of life, are questions Angela doesn't have answers to.
Give me another chance, will ya?
Sleepaway Camp has some surprising dramatic depth for an 80s slasher movie, and interesting characters that go beyond the usual stereotypes. The film is ultimately a slasher movie, of course, but what sets it apart even more from other slasher flicks is that all of the characters who die kinda deserve it. All the victims of the killer are shitty people who get their comeuppance, making the film's mostly unseen slasher villain actually more of a slasher anti-hero, an innovation on the formula. So now let's talk about all of Sleepaway Camp's deaths and mutilations before we move on to its shocking ending.
You sure are a sweet-looking little cupcake, Angela.
Artie, the head chef, is naturally the first to get his just desserts for obvious reasons. Artie's white pants make it clear he's never wiped his ass. Oh, and the pedophilia thing is bad too, as an unseen assailant causes Artie to lose his balance over a pot of boiling water, and James Earl Jones's dad is shocked to find Artie has become Fatty Krueger. The makeup supervisor of Sleepaway Camp was Ed French, who's still active today and did the makeup for a variety of films like Terminator 2. But Ed French also gave us the cranberry sauce in Blood Rage.
It's not cranberry sauce.
Artie's scolding is probably the most grisly scene in the whole film, and what really makes Ed French's makeup here is that he was instructed by the director to add a bubbling effect to the blisters on Artie's face, adding movement to the shot, making it grosser, more realistic, and so much more painful to look at. It almost makes you feel bad for Artie. Kinda, but not really. Notably though, Artie is the only victim of Sleepaway Camp's killer who survives the film. But given the state Artie's left in, he probably wishes he was dead.
I don't carry a sedative strong enough to mask the kind of agony he's in right now. Jesus, the pain must be incredible.
Sleepaway Camp has a bit of a Jaws element to it, where Mel tries to play mayor of Amity by keeping the mishaps of the camp on the down low.
I don't want the kids or their parents to know that this ever happened, you understand?
Slipping his kitchen staff some hush money, for instance.
$50 more a week can't be all that bad.
No, sir.
Unlike with most other camp slasher movies, Sleepaway Camp takes place over an extended period of time, with characters becoming aware that deaths are going on.
I thought you were the killer.
Don't tell me you believe all that baloney.
So the movie does try to explain away why the camp continues to operate in spite of this. It's a bit of a stretch, but at the same time, it is funny that there is seemingly no outside entity looking to shut down the camp while all this is going on.
Might as well pack everything and shut down. Nobody's ever going to send their kids here again.
Mel is just worried that he won't get any business in the future due to bad publicity as the campers gradually get killed or leave.
I guess he's just uptight about bad publicity.
What I've learned about running a camp is that all publicity is good publicity.
What's the matter? Can't you talk? I told you she was playing with half a deck.
The second victim is an actual death, Kenny, one of the bemulleted guys who harasses Angela, and I guess to make matters worse for Kenny, he also smokes weed. About as good a reason for him to die as any.
The water is really warm at night.
Well, the fellas try to convince the ladies to go skinny dipping at night in 10-degree water by, jumping in naked themselves first. Definitely not an excuse to go swimming naked with other dudes. Kenny takes Leslie here, out canoeing in the lake, and for whatever reason, Kenny decides to annihilate any possibility of getting laid by tipping the boat over. Hey, not cool. A father and his child were killed in this lake after doing that.
You bastard! I hate you!
Again, for whatever reason, despite seeing Leslie swim away angrily, Kenny goes under the capsized boat believing Leslie will return.
Leslie!
When instead Kenny becomes the victim of another kind of water prank, dunking. He just never gets a chance to breathe again. Oh my God, they killed Kenny! Great, fuck that guy. I really dig the attention to detail having a snake come out of Kenny's mouth. It adds movement to an otherwise still shot of a corpse.
Canoe tipped over, he must have hit his head.
That could be a logical explanation.
The third kill of the film involves the shirtless Billy here after he throws a water balloon at Angela with his boys from up on a cabin roof, which is a relatively harmless prank. It's just water, but Ricky really didnn't like it.
Get your freaking asses over this goddamn camp, you fuck!
And while Billy takes a fat dump, the film's killer dumps a hive of bees in the stall. And, you know, Billy could have just crawled underneath the door to the stall, but touching the floor of a camp's bathroom? No thanks. I'd let the bees sting me to death too. Fuck that. Nearing the finale, Judy tries to seduce Paul, driving a wedge between Angela and the lover boy. Making matters worse, Meg tosses Angela into the lake.
Angela!
And to add insult to injury, some kids throw sand on Angela in the aftermath, sealing the fates of these aggressors.
You won't let them get away with this, that's for sure.
Starting with Meg, who successfully reverse grooms a 60-year-old man.
9:30?
You got it.
But Meg takes a shower and finds herself not getting the back shots she had in mind tonight as she's backstabbed through the shower partition. Knife safety is important, I guess, but knife cleanliness matters so much more. Also, water conservation. While some nearby campers snooze in the woods, a couple campers beg their counselor Eddie to take them back to the campgrounds.
I want to go back. I'm cold.
Giving the killer an opportunity to put this hatchet to use, and when Eddie discovers the aftermath, he's only got one thing on his mind. He's gonna get blamed for this. Oh. Killing these kids in Sleepaway Camp is the only thing the director regretted putting in this movie, which is saying something because he's got a lot of things to regret in this movie, but these kids fucking deserved it for throwing sand.
Fuckers!
Judy fittingly gets it the worst in this movie, and when I say worst, I mean it. Judy's makeout sesh with Mike is interrupted by Mel.
I'm looking for Meg. Have you seen her?
She was going next door to take a shower.
And seeing that haggard old man is enough to kill Mike's erection for at least a week.
I think I better beat it.
What?
Leaving Judy alone to iron her hair as she's disturbed once again. This time by what appears to be Ricky with a bowl cut, but just ignore that for now, as somebody finally teaches this bitch some manners.
Well?
And while Judy takes a peaceful nap, the killer smothers her with a pillow and shoves a curling iron up her downstairs so the carpet can match the drapes. Savage as fuck! Little trivia, Robert Hiltzik feared that when he submitted Sleepaway Camp to the MPAA, it would receive an X rating, equivalent to an NC-17 today. The kiss of death for any movie because of the X rating's association with pornography. Some theaters won't exhibit an X-rated film, and it won't be advertised on TV or in newspapers, and obtaining an R rating often meant making frivolous cuts to a movie, watering it down. When the MPAA got back to Hiltzik to reveal the film's rating, they said, "We have bad news for you. We're going to have to give you an R rating." Like the director of the movie was expecting Sleepaway Camp to get a G or PG rating. But this means that the R-rated version of Sleepaway Camp is the uncut version of the movie. A surprising rarity when so many of its contemporaries were forced to be cut down for so much less.
Meg?
The penultimate death of Sleepaway Camp involves Mel, who swears vengeance against the killer after Mel discovers Meg's corpse before Mel could make her do things she would regret for the rest of her life.
He did this. Get back at me. Gotta stop him.
And Mel has become convinced that Ricky is behind the killings because Ricky gets angry a lot. This might not hold up in court, but alright.
I didn't do nothing!
And something that will be even harder to argue for in court is Mel beating Ricky to death in a blind rage. But Mel is surprised to find that he might not have taken out the real killer after all. What a pain in the neck. How they did this arrow gag in one shot is they had Mike Kellen wear a prosthetic neck that hid a mechanism within the hollow area between his real neck and the fake neck. They fed a wire underneath the fake neck that, when pulled from the back, drew an arrowheadless arrow to Mike Kellen's neck that, upon impact, triggered the mechanism beneath the fake neck to spring up an arrowhead held back behind Mike Kellen, creating the illusion that Mel was really pierced with an arrow in one sustained shot. Anyway, it's later found that Ricky survives Mel's attack, but this was a last-minute decision because Ricky was really scripted to die. After working with Jonathan Tiersten, though, the director probably decided to keep Ricky alive to leave his return in a sequel a possibility. The effects of Sleepaway Camp are great, but what kind of takes away from their effective ingenuity is when, after more murders are discovered, the camp is visited again by a cop who appeared earlier. Only this time, this Tom of Finland-looking jackass has the most obviously fake glue-on mustache imaginable.
Make sure everyone stays inside.
The cop actor took on another gig between shoots where he had to shave, and I guess the director figured he needed to maintain continuity by having this cop wear the cat hair mustache from Gabriel Knight 3.
Look everywhere you can think of, even the empty cabins.
While all this is going on, Angela requests that Paul meet her at the waterfront after the social.
Meet me at the waterfront after the social.
Yes, Angela, exactly. And after needing no other excuses to...
Let's go swimming.
Paul gets ready to skinny dip, which tees up this film's famous twist as Ronnie and Susie discover Angela singing Paul a lullaby. And hopefully the kid will feel better in the morning because his head is killing him. Yes, Angela killed Paul, but he doesn't look too upset about it. Also, Angela has a penis. That's pretty crazy. For the wide shots of Angela and her, equipment, they made a plaster cast mold of Felissa Rose's head and had a drunk college dude wear the mold over his face like a mask. And little trivia, the dude who played Nude Angela has never surfaced since the film released. Wonder why? But yeah, the ending of Sleepaway Camp happens quickly, and there's a lot that needs to be broken down here because it can get a little confusing. In the opening, out of the 2 children of John Baker, Angela was the one to actually die in the lake. Peter survived, but Peter's Aunt Martha decided having 2 sons was redundant.
I mean, we already have a boy, so another one simply would not do.
And Peter took on the identity of his dead twin sister Angela. Now, in the years since Sleepaway Camp was released, there have been varying takes on the film's ending and the negative connotations it might be suggesting, but the reality is that director Robert Hiltzik only decided to end the film the way he did was so that it would have a shocking twist. Usually when a slasher movie has a mystery killer, the killer is either revealed to be somebody never seen before, a character disguised as somebody else, or just a character a portion of the audience would have guessed to be the killer.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
With Sleepaway Camp, Hiltzik realized that his audience would be so busy guessing the identity of his killer that they wouldn't see some other revelations surrounding the killer coming. So he came up with the idea that the person behind the killings wasn't who we thought they were, and the easiest way to do that and make it shocking was swapping twins of opposite genders. Of course, the issue on a first viewing is that the opening of the film is kind of confusing, and the ending happens so quick that there isn't a ton of time to process it and what it means beyond Angela having a penis. Sleepaway Camp's ending is basically the ending of Psycho, though. Except what if Norman Bates thought he was his mother for the whole movie, and also showed his penis at the end?
Norman Bates no longer exists. He only half existed to begin with.
Hiltzik even wanted the score of Sleepaway Camp to sound reminiscent of Psycho's music by Bernard Herrmann, with Edward Bylis's orchestral score for Sleepaway Camp being a great departure from the usual synthesized scores of 80s slasher flicks. And I also like the original songs Frankie Vinci wrote and performed for the film, especially Angela's theme that plays over the credits. Every slasher should have a pop song about them in their own movie.
You're the only girl I adore.
The twist of Sleepaway Camp makes Angela/Peter a complicated character, but she's also such an ambiguous character that she's open to interpretation. Angela has been labeled as transgender.
Not exactly.
But it might be inaccurate to categorize her that way in the context of the original Sleepaway Camp because Angela doesn't realize her identity on her own terms like an actual transgender person would. Yet, at the same time, Angela's true nature and feelings about her identity are kept obscure.
Burt Reynolds.
Angela's internal conflict is based around her not knowing who she is, though, furthered by childhood trauma and the confusion of adolescence. Aunt Martha, as the real villain of the film, made Peter take on the identity of his dead sister Angela. The bandages imply Peter has sustained some kind of head injury following the accident. Peter could have suffered severe brain damage, have memory loss, or who knows what else, potentially making Peter a blank slate that Martha could mold into her idea of a perfect daughter, with Peter actually coming to believe he's his sister Angela until obvious doubts begin to surface. But it can also be interpreted that Peter, in his trauma and guilt over surviving, accepted the identity of his dead sister to allow the real Angela to live on in some weird way. But Peter as Angela is unable to reconcile these two personalities ultimately, and without treatment, Angela is too traumatized to carry on anything resembling a normal life. To make things more confusing for Angela is Paul's interest in her.
I have to go now.
The repressed Peter side of Angela seems to just want a male friend, the kind of friendship he once had with his cousin Ricky.
Is Ricky coming too?
No, I'm afraid he's spending the weekend with his father.
Who doesn't see Angela the same way he saw Peter. Angela is just somebody who needs to be protected, and it's not entirely clear if Ricky even knows Angela was once Peter. But if Ricky does know, he doesn't seem to care. Honestly though, Ricky would be looking for any excuse to have his mom committed so he can live with his dad full time.
Good old mom's at it again.
So it is very possible that Ricky was not aware that Peter switched places with Angela.
What are they?
Why, they're your physicals, of course.
The romantic element of Angela's relationship with Paul was confusing for her because she's not sure who she really is, Peter or Angela, and if either would want to be with Paul.
No!
Angela's father had a wife, but he later had a relationship with a man that needed to be hidden, like Angela's original, now hidden identity, Peter. Angela is so used to these areas of life being masked from others, unexplained, and she could possibly be afraid of being rejected by Paul, the closest thing to a friend she's made at camp. Nothing is really explicitly said about Angela's character, though. She could just be shy.
She's kind of shy, I guess.
Angela becomes a killer, though, out of revenge. Everyone dead or mutilated ended up that way because they were horrible or wronged Angela in some way. Angela's repression masks a boiling rage, with the buried Peter side of Angela possibly seeking justice for injustices carried out against his deceased sister. Ricky might be protective of Angela, but Peter is on a whole other level.
When the mind houses two personalities, there's always a conflict. A battle.
By the end of the film, the once dormant Peter possibly takes over from Angela as a primal creature of violence.
Why, she wouldn't even harm a fly.
Of course, there is the theory that Ricky was more than just a red herring and that he did take part in some of the film's killings.
You won't let them get away with this, that's for sure.
All of the violent scenes of the film use Jonathan Tiersten's hands in place of Angela's because Felissa Rose's mother didn't want her daughter exposed to the film's violence, and Tiersten even stands in place of Angela in Judy's death scene. It can be read as the film wanting to deliberately try to mislead audiences into thinking Ricky is the killer when it was really Angela. But Ricky very possibly did attack some of the characters too. Not everyone, of course. Mel and Paul would have had to have been killed by Angela, but Artie, for instance, could have been scalded by Ricky. Angela didn't seem to understand the situation with Artie, but Ricky was pissed and would have wanted to make sure Artie couldn't try to harm Angela again. Angela was also afraid to go in water after the accident, so it seems unlikely, unless she assumed another persona, that Angela killed Kenny. It says something that being raised by a crazy bitch like Martha could have made both Ricky and Angela violent. I mean, that's what Sleepaway Camp is about, really. How adults can mess people up as kids, how the rest of the world messes them up even more, and how people need to be allowed to heal, given the freedom to decide who they are on their own terms.
She's just quiet. If she were any quieter, she'd be dead.
Ultimately, it's fun to read shit into a movie like Sleepaway Camp, shit that very likely wasn't intended, but at the end of the day, it's a goofy camp slasher flick with some creative kills, a ridiculous backstory, memorable weird characters, a painfully realistic depiction of a summer camp, and a twist that was only trying to be shocking and memorable, but it can validly also be read as harmful and exploitative. It's a solidly built slasher flick despite its sordid reputation, though. And for me, Sleepaway Camp is true to its name. It's camp. It's entertainment in its strangest form. It's like a boat crash. I just can't look away. I give Sleepaway Camp a John out of Artie living in eternal pain.
Alright now, what's the twist of this video?
You want to know what the twist is, Goulash?
Yes, tell me already.
Are you sure you're prepared to hear it?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because what I'm about to reveal will change everything you think you know.
Out with it already.
Okay, fine. The twist is, oh, I know. Goulash has a vagina.
What? I do not have a vagina.
Really? Why don't you check to make sure?
Ugh. I see a penis and testicles.
Why don't you prove it then? Show us, Goulash.
I'm not showing my junk.
Because you don't have a penis and actually have a vagina.
No, because I don't want to show my junk.
I rest my case.
Ugh, I don't have a vagina. I don't.
This video is made possible through the pledges of my Patreon supporters, and I'd like to give a very special thanks to the kind folks pledged to my shoutouts tier. All of their support on Patreon means a lot to me, and it helps my dark influence continue to grow. If you liked this video, like it, and if you loved it, click the subscribe and bell buttons for more videos. Be sure to also keep in touch by following me on social media at Dr. Wolfula. While I still have your attention, consider pledging to my Patreon to support the channel and get bonus content like private movie night streams with me and credits in my videos. Consider pledging at patreon.com/Dr. Wolfula. Also, check out official Dr. Wolfula merch on tpublic.com/user/Dr. Wolfula. Thanks for watching. Dr. Wolfula signing out.